So now that the exam season is over, everybody's asking when do we come back? You want to find out? Stay tuned. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Raza Rutsari. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Education at the School of Dentistry, University of Manchester, and thank you very much for joining me on another episode of Manchester Molars. I'm sure in the past 2 weeks you missed me, did you? So last week we had a very successful run of our BDS finals exam, and on Friday we had to wave goodbye to our lovely BDS Year 5 students. Normally we all go out together for a pint, but this time we had no option but to go for a virtual pint via Zoom. Have a look.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it a nice way to end? I mean, we were just saying 8 weeks ago, who would have thought we'd have been doing this, and who would have thought we'd have been having a pint? So yeah, it was really good, and it will always be known as the COVID year. And I don't mean nothing.
At least will never be forgotten.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
So the exam season is over, and I'm sure lots of you are very keen to find out the results. When it comes to exam, there's only one name which comes to my mind, Dr. Carly Dixon. Let's give Carly a ring and find out when you will know about the results. Hi Carly, how are you?
Hi Reza, I'm good, thanks. And how about yourself?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Now, first of all, well done for running such a successful final year BDS exam. Now, I'm sure lots of people would like to, first of all, know how the exam went, and also all the remaining BDS years and BSc years who are still waiting for their exams. I want to find out when it's going to come out. So would you like to give us a little bit of insight into what to expect?
Yeah, so just giving you an overview of what's happened for the BDS finals exams. As you're aware, they're completely different to how we'd normally have them in terms of having their unseen and having their clinical cases. Students had their short answer paper, which they undertook online, and then they also did a modified structured assessment. So what that was, in the usual exams, they'd be given an unseen case, have 20 minutes to prepare, and then they were quizzed and questioned on that. As the students were at home, we gave them a week, so we gave them 3 cases, so 1 paediatric and ortho, 1 restorative, and 1 oral surgery or medicine. So they had a whole week to prepare those cases, and again, they had structured questions and themes, and they had to submit that. Those assignments were marked, and the examiners were a tremendous attribute to us, because they were marking at the weekend, marking a bank holiday, to ensure that the students could sit their exams. So the students had their assessments marked, and then they had an online interview, and that consisted of 2 examiners. It was a 30-minute examination, of which the students were asked questions around the 3 topics and around the 3 cases to kind of further gain understanding of their clinical knowledge, their evidence-based thinking, and to give that final rubber stamp of approval that we know that they're ready to graduate and do us proud when they move into foundation dentistry. So that was how the exam process ran. The students were released for their results. We do have some students that are resitting, but how we planned it to kind of enable students to have the best opportunity to still gain their foundation posts.
Of course.
Which we thought was really important, because we know how hard they've worked throughout this year. We wanted to make sure that we gave them the fairest assessment that way.
Very good. So the rest of the BDS years and BSc years, when will they expect to have their results released? I know I've done my share bit of marking, so I think all the colleagues are exactly doing the same. So could you give us some dates, please?
Yeah, so how it works is that the BDS marking and the BSc marking is all done online, so all clinical staff that would usually be teaching have been allocated areas to mark. So areas are then double marked quality assurance, so then that takes another time for it to go through. And then the results are calculated, they're sent to the external examiners for review, and we're holding our exam board for the 7 years on the 10th of June, so Wednesday the 10th of June. Following that, we'll be able to release the results to the students. There's a little bit of time that requires in order to be able to email out all the students and contact them. So we're expecting that all the results will be released to the students by the 15th of June. So by Monday the 15th of June, all the students should know their results.
Thank you, Carly. So that's very reassuring to know. And I think one question which many of our year 4 students going to year 5 have got is in terms of format of their exam. Now, I'm fairly aware that you've got this on your agenda for the next assessment and examination group meeting to discuss, because we obviously learn a lot from this new format of year 5 exam, and we might still implement some of these. So this is something you're gonna discuss at the next meeting you're going to chair, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And this is kind of an appeal at the moment. We had a really good final year student. So we had Sam Jones, who was part of the assessment and examination group. So he was a representation that was able to feed back any concerns from the students and also help input and do some short projects as well. So if there's any fourth year student that will be going into final year, and I'm more than happy to have one or two who would like to put themselves forward to join the AEG, and that's, if they could email, then they're more than welcome to be at the meetings as well, because it's really important to have a student voice and to ensure that we're as transparent as possible with how we move forward and make sure that our assessments are appropriate.
Okay, sounds good. I pretty much know that your mailbox at the moment is crazy busy anyway, so I think those of you who are watching, probably best is to email Oliver, your year rep, if you're interested to be present at the next AEG, and then Oliver will then communicate all the names to Carly rather than having so many emails coming to your way. You happy with that, Carly?
Yes, brilliant. Thanks very much.
Okay, excellent. So again, thanks a lot for all the hard work you're doing, getting our exams all sorted, and I will see you soon.
All right, you take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And of course, the next big question for you guys is, when do you come back? So how about you join me on footages from our SSLC to see what was discussed.
You've got a smile on his face. So yes, year 5, just tell us all, how did it go, everything else?
Well, I just want, the only reason I sort of joined was just to quickly, I wanted to just say thank you to everyone, in particular the staff, for all help this year. Everything that's been done, especially during these last sort of couple of months. And all the support and help we've had, and I just want to say thank you. We really appreciated it from both me and Willow and everyone else in the final year. And yeah, that was it really.
Thank you. You've done a really good job in year 5. You kept everybody's spirits up, which is good, and you know, you've been on our side sort of thing, so that's really good. So good luck in the new world. Should we go to year 4? Oliver, how are you doing?
Yeah, I think the whole year group thought exams, they were good, they worked well, very few technical issues, best of a bad situation, really. People are still, before exams, people are still enjoying clinical seminars and the lectures, and people are really appreciative of the teaching and all the engagement we're having. I think most people's, instead of just asking a load of specific questions, that I think, is there any updates as to what's going on? With us coming back, what's going on next year? Because I think most of the questions really were just directed around, we don't know what's going on.
So can I go to Reza for that one? Because I think you've been at the faculty level finding out what's going on, Reza.
Yes, that's right, Nick. So at the moment, what faculty would like us to do is to give them a proposal of what potentially we can deliver face-to-face. So although the emphasis on the taught component of any of the BDS and BSc courses would be to deliver as much of these symposia and EDLs and lectures online at least until end of December, but we are at the moment working hard behind the scene to see what we can do in terms of your hands-on. So that's going to be a combination of clinical skills work as well as clinics, but we have to ensure whatever space we're going to bring you in is going to be safe. So that's what we are working at, and you probably appreciate it's not a kind of one-person job. It's like, us, trust, and like lots of people involved. So we are working, and we got a draft kind of like plan of what things might be looking like, but it's in its very primitive stages at the moment. It's way too early if I want to say this is what it might look like. So maybe in the next SSLC, then everything is going to be ready. And if things become available before your next SSLC, obviously I will put it across via Blackboard and maybe on Manchester Molars as well. So yeah, we will keep you informed. As soon as we know how it's going to look like, we'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, so thank you for that. I'll just quickly crack through the ones that haven't been answered. One of them was, is there going to be any info coming out about DFT?
In terms of?
Are they happening? What format will they be in? Are they still happening? Because obviously,
as far as I know, they're still happening, and there has been some meetings which Dr. O'Connor is now going on. So in terms of we are still prepping you and still DF going on. As far as I know, things are still going to continue. So there's no interruption as far as I know. I'm just looking at Nick and Kevin. Am I correct with this information? So that's as far as I know.
Yeah, at the moment, that bit is business as normal, but it may change. We don't know. But that's a national decision, not a local one, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So we are not aware of any changes. As far as we know, we are still planning to train you as usual. So things are unchanged as far as we know.
Lovely, thank you. When are results going to be released? And I'm sure this is across all years.
The exam board is on the 10th, I think. It's Alison there.
On the 10th.
Yeah, so soon after that.
Caroline said the other day in Team Brief, they'll be out week commencing Monday the 15th of June.
Monday the 15th of June, fantastic. There was another one. Please can we have some information about the NHS bursary? It's coming up soon and none of us have any idea of how to apply or what we're entitled to.
I got in touch with them again yesterday, but they haven't got back to me, so I'm just going to be chasing it up every other day.
Lovely. So hopefully soon we'll get some info about that.
Yeah.
Another one was, any chance we'll be staying longer at uni? There's been rumours of doing 8 till 8, and also any idea of when we're going to start uni, because people are thinking about accommodation.
So in terms of accommodation, I think you should be planning to expect to be coming back in September as per normal.
That's September. Any sort of time in September? Are we going to be earlier than others? Or
as far as I know, the university is just planning to bring people slightly more staggered rather than everybody together. So those who are new starters, they're starting slightly sooner, and they've got about a week or two as their freshers weeks. And then there are returning undergrads, and then followed by returning postgrads.
With respect to your question about the 828, yes, that is being looked at because we've got to maximise all the clinical skills and maximise all the clinics. So that is being looked at, but as yet there's been no firm decision on it. But I would imagine we'll have to do that.
Yeah, that's great. And the next one, because can we have a blueprint for next year, like a rough timeline of interviews, assessments, etc.?
This is what Carl is bringing to the next AEG, because obviously with the recent run of finals, we learn a lot of positive things, and there are lessons for us to be able to implement to your year to make things even better. But as I said, I just had some informal chats with Carly and a couple of other senior members of the staff. But it's all for discussion at the AEG, and that's in a couple of weeks' time, I think.
People said, do you have a plan of how we're going to make up for lost clinical time, or sort of a provisional plan, or has that not been finalised yet?
It so much depends on how we go. We're not going to go back in September to how we were in February, because the whole landscape of clinical dentistry has changed. And how we treat patients and do various procedures has changed, and our life when we go back will change in the short term, say from September through to Christmas, and then beyond then, if we're still social distancing beyond Christmas, and if we get the second peak in January as being predicted, there may be more lockdown. So I think we all have to understand we're not going to go back to the way we were in February, and so that whatever we offer in terms of the next stage in all of your educations is predicated by how we can treat patients and how we can actually go back and deliver clinical dentistry. So, obviously people like Mike Pemberton, the clinical director, and his team, they're working their socks off trying to work out ways that we can go back and do things and how we do them, what sort of procedures can be done where in the building. They're looking at airflow, they're looking at all sorts of things. Everything that you can think of that you've heard on the telly and read on social media, they're thinking about everything. Or Reza sat down on his timetable by minute, what might happen. No point passing that on yet, because it still depends very much on
no point deliberating.
You can go back on September the 22nd and do such and such. We don't know yet.
But it's kind of national decisions as well. You know, these are all issues that are being discussed at Dental School Council. All dental schools are in the same position and are sharing information and learning from each other as to how best to get our students back on clinic.
There's been rumours about other dental schools going back this month, and I'm just wondering, are they rumours? Because they're going like wildfire at the moment.
Rumours.
They are. Yeah, they are rumours.
Yeah, absolutely rumours. Yeah. Some places are open. Some dental hospitals will be open for emergency patients, but at the moment, as far as I know, none are open for clinical teaching. There's one thing is the trust, but the university have the responsibility of, you know, duty of care for you guys, so they will only let you back in when they think it's safe.
Another question was, are there any ideas on what might happen to cases and milestones? Because people think that if we do written milestones, we won't have time for cases. If we do cases, we won't have time for written milestones. And people are a bit stressed about that. I've got quite a few about that.
Just saying, a couple of weeks' time, that's one of the things we're going to discuss at the
definitely,
because I've already spoken with Carly about this. Yeah, we'll discuss it, let you know.
I just had a question just related to accommodation contracts for the following year then. Should people hold back in terms of booking accommodation for next year until there's more of a definitive start date?
You won't need accommodation in Manchester until the week commencing the 28th of September.
Yeah.
Now, I would urge you to get your contracts looked at by Manchester Student Homes.
Sure.
Yeah, because the university works quite a lot with Manchester Student Homes, and they're being encouraged to be lenient with students over enforcing contracts because of the pandemic.
And just some positives, students saying that PEDS, ortho and restorative lectures have been taught very well and questions were clinically relevant and fair in the SAT. And also we all appreciate the hard work that's been put into the new preclinical seminars, along with the new denture guidebooks made by Dr. Waffer. And students said that she's an excellent clinical tutor and a real credit to the school.
Just thank you to the students really for being so flexible and sticking with us while we've made the transition over onto online learning. Sorry we can't answer all of your questions at this time, but it's just because we don't have the answers. A lot of them are sort of out of our hands, but we will get information to you as soon as possible.
Just a quickie, since Damien's not here, for Oliver really, I think Damien just wants to draw together a little working party of students going into year 5. He aims to start meeting next week. So
wonderful. Yeah, I just got an email about that. I'll put it in.
All right. So if you can just encourage your colleagues to contribute, that'd be really helpful. Thanks. Lots of good students in your year, so.
These days, no matter how much cake and pastries you get is never enough. If you're craving for a different recipe to your usual, Megan has got the answer to that. Megan, they're all yours. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We came to the end of another episode of Manchester Molars. Until next Thursday, I've been Resolute Sari. You've been amazing. I will see you next week.
And So we've got a visitor as well who's very excited to learn all about the exam process. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. This is what happens when you're working from home. So in terms of how the BDS finals exams worked,